Hi everyone, so I haven't done one of these for a really long time and I don't know why, but for some reason when I pick up my phone camera to do a video recording for YouTube versus Instagram, it just feels different. I feel very, it all feels very like flowing when I'm on Instagram, very natural. But whenever I think about something going on to YouTube, I feel like it needs to be much more polished and it's just not who I am. So I'm just gonna have to try and think that I'm doing this to Instagram. But I did want to, I had high hopes for kind of doing a like pre-badminton kind of like series. But that hasn't really happened. And I think it's also because I always like the idea of doing sort of the videos of the training and the competitions and especially like the events, but it then comes to it and all I want to do is focus on the day, and I still love the whole in the moment feeling rather than thinking of like, oh, I must pick up my camera to like record this, or like I need to make sure that that's in there, or thinking about how something looks and then it just doesn't happen. But I do want to try and get past that because I think it's really nice to look back on, and also learn from as well, because always learn from videos, and like see that natural progression through our training and kind of and learnings and things like that. So instead what I'm going to do is stick like a stake in the ground from like now, so it's going to be from like now working back to January, or January working up to now, of what we have done in preparation for badminton and the event season, and then hopefully from this moment on then try and get more regular videos in place. But I'm not making any promises. I mean, hopefully, because I also think there's so many people that do these things, like who actually wants to see this? And I mean, I shouldn't be doing it for other people, I should be doing it for me, and like for close friends and family that may want to see it, because I know people do enjoy watching what I put on Instagram, but that's, like I said, very in the moment, just pick up the camera and do a piece and then it's done without having to do any editing or thinking about what it looks like. Anyway, that's my little pre-ramble. I've put together a selection of videos from January up until now, including our first event of the season, which, spoiler alert, we won on a very, very good score. So yeah, things so far, I mean, there have been bumps in the road, which I'll explain as throughout the little videos that I've included. But anyway, that's quite like a long intro, but I just wanted to do a bit of preamble to set the scene. So let's get into it. Okay, so this is going to be quite a long voiceover because there are 20 minutes worth of clips in here. So yeah, let's just see how this goes, because people might just get bored of my voice by halfway through this, or I may lose my voice. So this was in January, literally right at the start of January. I wanted to get out and have some fun jumping. So basically, I had last year, we'd obviously been jumping 100s very comfortably. I'd been going BS at Discovery and newcomers. We'd had double clears at newcomers, also done 2 novices last year as well. Everything was feeling fine and dandy. I then had hopes of doing the Hartbury Spectacular, the newcomers class there, which would be quite a big newcomers. And I'm not sure, I think I just scared myself more than anything. And when we went in to do that class, we actually, unfortunately, this was in November, had our first ever elimination, where I just completely bottled it. And at that level, Finn can't really get us out of it when his rider is fluffing it up that much. So we had to take it back to basics more for me. We then went out and did a 95 the following weekend, lovely. But I couldn't stop thinking about what had happened at Hartbury. So in January, here we are at CCR, I entered the 90 arena eventing there, thinking no pressure, it's down the road and let's just go out and have like a pop around some fences without thinking about the height. So for me, 90 is my very comfortable height of let's just pop round and see how it is. Don't need to think too much. And I was really pleased with this. It was all very relaxed, very lovely. And I thought I was going to be on more of an upward trajectory after this, but it seems to have lingered on over the first few months of the year. But yeah, no, that was a lovely day out in January to kick us off. I've then added in, here's just some training at home. So I don't jump very often at home because my arena, although it looks big here, is slightly smaller than a 20x40. But this is just trying to keep the momentum, keep the sort of the confidence going with jumping, and pull together this little exercise with poles and things like that. Just get them sort of gymnastically thinking. And yeah, it was a very good exercise, which I haven't actually done since. But he made it feel very easy. Now we are back at CCR. I believe this is still in January, maybe the beginning of February. But this was a clinic with Katie Williams. I think we were popping around kind of like a metre 5 maybe here. And you'll see here, that is case in point what I do. And it's very frustrating. About a few strides out now, if I can't see a stride, my go-to is to flap, kick and hope for the best. Because I don't know why, but that seems to be my go-to. I guess there's worse go-tos. I could be holding, or pulling him. But equally, it's not great, is it? So that's what I'm trying to work through at the moment. It's taking a bit more time, but we'll get there. This happened when I first had him. I remember I couldn't even get around an 80 round this very course. About almost 3 years ago now, I was struggling with my confidence so much. And we got back up to newcomers. So if I could do it then, I can definitely do it again. It's just trying to get through that mindset problem that I've got. But yeah, it was at this point, Katie was like, right, can you come round and do that line again? Because it seemed to be that one line I kept, as soon as I came around the corner, I was winging it, getting the old arms out. So I came back round to have another go and try and sit quiet with my leg on. And that was a much better shot that time because I had the energy early on, so I could just sit and wait. And he did take a bit of a flyer there, but we're not knocking his enthusiasm. Then we move on to a not so good quality clip, but this was a couple of clips from my first dressage lesson that I'd had actually since pre-badminton last year, so since about April with Justine. And we've been really working on keeping that frame uphill and the energy really coming from behind because he's got such a lovely rhythm. I can quite often just sit there and let him kind of trundle along, and he also has a tendency to go slightly behind the vertical and a bit downhill, and I don't really recognise that. I'm slowly starting to recognise that feeling of him being uphill and where his sort of frame should be. But my God, I was absolutely over the moon with this lesson and with how he felt. And when I looked back at the footage, the way I've recorded this is by sticking my phone on the seat at the end of the arena and then zoomed in as I'm re-recording it because I don't really have anyone that comes with me to watch or film the dressage lessons because it's not as interesting as the jumping. But I wanted to start sort of looking back to try and gauge what I should be looking and feeling at. And here we're just working on a bit more medium, getting him to really step through with his shoulder. Then the following weekend, so this is all still in February. We've done quite a bit in preparation for the up and coming season. So this was Pontypool, a clinic with Katie Williams again. And this was really fantastic because I did not think that we were going to be jumping what we jumped. A couple of these fences were pretty tasty in size, and I was just absolutely thrilled with him. He loves his cross country, and I was still riding a little bit tentatively. I find it difficult trying to do arena cross country and I find it cross country schooling in general very hard. I need to literally leave that start box and just get in my rhythm and go, and then I find I'm gonna big myself up here. I find I'm a very good cross country rider, but I need to be leaving that start box to really to ride. In the arena, it's just not my friend. Arena cross country is not necessarily my friend. Kind of links in with the whole show jumping, doesn't it? Trying to find that rhythm in an enclosed area I find difficult. I mean, he had a lovely time, and it was great for our confidence as well. I'm sorry if you can hear any squeaking. I'm sat on a very squeaky chair. But how easy and basically how easy does this look for him? He just trundles on through, works it all out. You can literally see his face working it out, where to put his big old legs.
Outside leg. Yeah, well done.
Good boy. Right, now we are I haven't put the whole test in because there's another whole test coming up later. But this is the novice area festival test at Prestige. I kept that in purposely because there was a puddle there, and a lot of horses were spooking at it, and poor old Finn obviously had a lot of spook at it as well. And then you'll see him shoot forward in a minute because a car backfired on the dual carriageway just behind, which wasn't ideal. So it wasn't a great start, but I was really pleased with how we worked through all of this. Didn't let it faze us, and we got a very respectable 68 point something. I think it's 68.7%. So we finished 7th out of a huge class. There were 40 odd people. I think it was 41. 40 something anyway, people in this class. Enormous. For us to actually get a wild card for the area festival championship. So we're off to that mid-April, which is super exciting. So we actually went to that at prelim level a couple of years ago for the first time ever. So to be able to get there again at novice, it's just such an opportunity to be able to do that. I mean, this horse is now qualified for every dressage championship that we have entered, so each area festival and regional, whether that's direct or via a wild card, which is just amazing, isn't it? I mean, he's really changed how I feel about dressage. I really enjoy dressage, and I mean, I think he enjoys his jumping a lot more, but he is a very willing dance partner. Then coming up, just a very short clip of us out doing some BS again. This was the Discovery. Been trying to just keep up. We've re-registered, and I'm just trying to keep up with getting out as much as we can. We have had a couple of stops, but again, it's me, and we're learning from it, and taking those learnings into each outing next time out. So this was a Ben Hobday clinic that I had last minute booked into, very last minute, after having a stop out at BS actually, because I thought, right, I need to get some instruction now. I really need some help. So this was early March, a couple of weeks ago now. And oh wow, this was just absolutely what we needed and the best show jumping instruction I've ever had in my life. It was exactly what we needed, and I've fortunately been able to book onto another one in April, ahead of going to Badminton, to hopefully instill all of these magic bites of wisdom that Ben has got, because he is an absolute master. He explained things so clearly and they all made complete sense. I mean, I still wasn't able to completely put them all into practice at the event after this, but it's not going to happen instantly, is it? So here we are on to our first event of the season at Off Churchbury, the Cotswold Cup 100. When the events sort of calendar came out, in my mind I was always going to do Off Churchbury as the first one. I really love it here. This is the second time I've been here, and I enjoyed it so much. Just the ground, the organisation, the setup, the cross-country track. I just think it's wonderful. So although it's a bit of a drive for us, it's just over 2 hours, it is well worth it. And I mean, it didn't disappoint this time round either. So I did do a complete voiceover of this dressage test on my Instagram and on my Facebook. But do you know what? I think I'm gonna leave it in. I'm not going to go through each of the marks though, because that's what I did. I did a voiceover with each of the marks for each of the movements, but I will just leave it in anyway. And for those that do not follow me on Instagram or have me as a friend on Facebook, I mean, I only have friends on Facebook, but just for anyone else that may want to see, it's a bit of an odd test, this one. It's the Cotswold Cup 102, and it is the movements are in peculiar places, shall we say. So the 20-metre circles, we do both of them in canter at D and G. You go up the 3/4 line like I'm doing now, and for this we actually did get a 9. We got quite a few 9s in this test. The most 9s I've ever had, I was actually reflecting on this, we've only ever got 1 9 before in a test, and that was a few months ago. But in this one, we got a lot of 9s. Actually, our worst mark was our walk, where we got a 7. And I mean, you'll be able to see we definitely deserved those lower marks in our walk. Our walk was not great, but on reflection, I was so pleased with this test anyway, because he was very spicy in the warm-up. I know people use that term a lot, but he definitely was full of spice. He knew he was at an event. The show jumping ring was right next to the dressage warm-up, and every time somebody cantered towards the first fence, he wasn't quite sure what to do with himself, and he thinks about spinning, he thinks about rearing, he thinks about bucking, he thinks about bolting off. So he thinks about all those 3 things, and he ends up doing a bit of all of them. And you have to just do the complete opposite of what you would think you would do in that situation. So usually you would tell somebody to relax, loosen the contact. You have to do the complete opposite with Finn. I mean, I've had him almost 3 years now, and I 100% know how to manage him in these ways. He is pretty horse shy, and he's not great in warm-ups. And I've tried that way of being relaxed, and what happens is he then just proceeds to bolt off. And once I've lost him, it is very hard to get him back, because it's not just bolt, it's bolt and buck, and it's not particularly enjoyable. You have to just hold him as tight as you can until instantly he then will come back to me and I can release. But you can only release once you know that you've got him, kind of thing. So there you go, there's a bit of insight into what I have to deal with in the warm-ups. I actually thought he was going to be even worse in the show jump warm-up, because that is usually where he is particularly bad. But on this day, he was absolutely phenomenal in the show jumping warm-up. Not once did he give me any inkling that he was going to bolt off or have a moment, which was which was amazing. That was a win in itself, to be honest, because if anyone saw us at the badminton show jump warm up last year, that was not a fun time for us. I mean, I'm quite lucky that as soon as he goes into the ring, he just completely like settles and relaxes. But yeah, the parts beforehand aren't great. And yes, yeah, so for this test, we scored an incredible 18, second best in the section. There were a lot of 20s, a few in the 30s, one on 17.6. And yeah, our first ever sub 20, my first ever sub 20. Then we move on to the show jumping. I mean, I didn't have a great warm-up. I tried to do everything that I'd learned in the lesson with Ben, and my nerves just got the better of me when I had a bit of a shocker at one of the warm-up fences, and I kind of just went quite stiff coming into here. But he's such a good boy, and he really helps me out, and at this height, he can help me out. I mean, that was lovely. I was really pleased with that one. But coming around here, I just didn't really see anything. I mean, I'm glad we got the deeper shot rather than the longer one. And the rest of this now, I get into a bit of a rhythm, and it does look and feel a lot better. I just need to find that happy medium of enough energy without the speed. At the moment, I'm kind of confusing the two a little bit. I mean, that was great as well. I thought this was a great course. This was like perfect prep for badminton, really, because it's quite like undulating and twisty. And at this point, I'm like, oh my God, we're about to go into our cross country on an 18 dressage. Do not have the last fence down. So what do? I ride like a moron. There you go, flappy arms, but luckily Finn is an angel and cleared it. Then on to cross country, and I was here at the start box, and the commentator right next to me was just bigging us up, saying how we're basically going to win this if we go clear, which I know is obvious, but at the same time I'm like, my God, the pressure. The ground was quite challenging because we were on sort of towards the end of the day. It was quite tacky and holding in places. I wasn't sure how he was going to cope with the ground. I thought I might just let him cruise round if he wasn't feeling it. I only popped one jump in the warm-up, thinking the first few fences are pretty much warm-up fences anyway, and I didn't want to kind of overdo it with the ground being a little bit more on the tacky side. But as you'll see, as soon as we land after that first fence, he was like, come on, let's go. And he felt incredible, honestly. This is the best cross-country round this horse has ever given me, feeling-wise. He was looking for his fences, he was landing and then just going, and he didn't feel tired in the slightest. The ground didn't tire him out. He was just making his way, like ploughing through, to the point where I suddenly looked at my watch after the second last fence, and I thought, my God, you are going to get speeding time faults here. You need to slow down. And I slowed down as much as I could without coming back to trot to still try and get over that last fence. So we did get one time fault for going too fast, but he just felt so fit, so confident, and like he was absolutely loving life. It was just incredible. So yeah, we won on 18.4. So that is a little roundup of what we've been up to the last few months, basically, where my head's at. Then, so what's next on the plan? Next on the plan is, also, this was the beautiful rosette from Off Tewkesbury, Lands Eventing. Who doesn't love a giant rosette? Next on the cards is Oxtal's GR100, so that's next weekend, which is the start of April, so we've got that. We've then got the Area Festival Championships, got lessons planned in with Ben and Justine as well, and yeah, I think it's only 6 weeks till badminton now. I think that's going to fly by, really. Then it's going to be rest of the season. We have actually already got 2 regional sort of like chances. I can't think of the word. Like the ones to qualify for badminton. You know what I mean. We've already got 2 of those chances. Unfortunately, I can't make like the 2 which are like the most local to me. So like Bicton, I say local, Bicton, Devon. It's not really that local to me, but like it is. So Bicton and Chillington, I'm away both of those weekends. So my only chances would be to go to Frickley, which is Yorkshire, for me, absolutely miles away. Or Little Downham, Cambridgeshire, again, absolutely miles away. Or do the Bicton 3-day at the end of the year. I've never really been that keen on that one. Mainly because of it being in October and a stay away in October. I don't really fancy a stay away on like grass in October. I don't fancy. So yeah, I know what I'm like though. I was going to get to it and then I'm going to be like, if I've got the chance, I want to try and qualify again, surely. But I just need to logistically work out where I would go and whether I would do that. But yeah, rest of the season's going to be kind of just trying to have some fun, really, not putting any pressure on to necessarily move up. I've done those novices now. I've proved to myself that I can still do it, which is, I think, the main crux of it. Oh God, my arm's going numb. Last year, but actually, I really enjoy the grassroots side of things. I'm not saying I'm not pigeonholing myself to stay at grassroots forever, but at the moment, that is what I'm enjoying. I'm really enjoying the 100s. I don't necessarily have a desire to do a 1-star, purely because of the cost. So it is a lot of extra with memberships and things like that. So yeah, just going to be having fun this season. I know we all say it, but quite often you get sucked into the pressure. At least I definitely do. And one of my main goals actually is I'd love to qualify for the Cotswold Cup Championships. We did qualify back a couple of years ago at the 90, but I didn't go in the end because we'd had such a great season and we just qualified for Badminton 90 and I thought I just wanted to leave it there. But this year I would love to go because it's so local for us at Cirencester Park. And I haven't done a trot up since, wow, it must be like over 13 years now. So to dress up and get all fancy and have a little trot up, that would be fun, especially with Finn. Anyway, that is it. There is your update, and maybe there'll be more of these this year. Maybe there won't. Maybe there'll just be another one of these in 2027, who knows? But everyone is up to date and they know what we've done and what our plans are. So over and out.